Get a life. The room smelled like expensive perfume and borrowed success. Crystal glasses clinked. Laughter echoed too loudly, and in the center of it all, her. My wife, radiant, celebrated, elevated. She stood on a small platform, holding her glass like it was a trophy she'd bled for. Maybe she had. Maybe I just hadn't noticed when the bleeding started. Get a life, she said. Not to the room, to me. The laughter didn't stop. It shifted, like a wave adjusting direction. Stop hanging around Jake just to feel important, she continued, smiling like she was being playful. He's rich and successful. You're not. More laughter. Polite at first, then real, then cruel. I felt every eye in the room slide toward me, weighed, measured, dismissed. I smiled. Because that's what you do when you realize you've already lost something. You just haven't figured out what yet. She raised her glass again, basking in the applause. My new job, she said. My new life. My smile didn't move, but something inside me did. Shifted, locked into place, because in that moment, I wasn't embarrassed. I wasn't angry. I was curious about one small detail she hadn't noticed yet. The envelope on the table beside her. Her first official paycheck. Still sealed, still untouched, and signed by me. The applause faded into background noise. I watched her instead. The way she laughed a little too loudly. The way she leaned into Jake when she thought no one was paying attention. But I was. I had been. For a while now. Jake, the name tasted like something metallic in my mouth. He wasn't just rich and successful. He was careful, calculated, the kind of man who didn't make mistakes. Which is why this, whatever this was, didn't feel accidental. It felt constructed. Weeks ago, I started noticing small things. Her phone, always face down. The late-night work calls. The sudden interest in things I had no part in. New clothes, new tone, new distance. At first, I told myself it was normal. People change. Success changes them faster. But then there were the details that didn't belong, like the way she'd smile at a message and then delete it. Or how Jake's name came up too often, and yet never directly. Always around him, never about him. And then there was the job, the one she celebrated tonight. The one she said she earned. The one she said I wouldn't understand. She wasn't wrong. I didn't understand. Because I already knew something she didn't. Jake didn't hire people. Not directly. He owned companies. Layers of them. Structures built to keep his hands clean. And 3 weeks ago, I acquired one of those layers. Quietly. Legally. Completely. She didn't know. Jake didn't know. No one did. Except me. So when she stood there tonight, belittling me, mocking me, comparing me to him, I didn't feel small. I felt certain. Because whatever game they thought they were playing, they had already lost. They just didn't know the rules had changed. I didn't confront her. Not then. Not ever. Confrontation is emotional. Emotion is messy. And I don't make decisions when things are messy. Instead, I observed. Collected. Connected. Her routine became predictable. Work late. Phone locked. Shower longer than usual. Smile at nothing. Jake's patterns were harder, but not invisible. Money leaves trails, even when people try to bury it, especially when they think no one is looking. I started with records, transfers, shell companies. The structure unraveled slowly, like pulling thread from a tightly woven fabric. And there it was, hidden in plain sight, her salary, processed through a subsidiary, signed off by a board that didn't exist anymore, because I owned it now. Every approval, every transaction, every decision passed through me. She thought she had climbed, but she had been placed. The question was, why? And then I found it. A contract, not hers. Jake's. A performance clause tied to personal influence metrics, relationships, leverage, control. She wasn't just an employee. She was an asset. And suddenly everything made sense. The distance, the arrogance, the confidence. She didn't see herself as my wife anymore. She saw herself as someone who had outgrown me, because someone had told her she had. And she believed it. That's the thing about manipulation. It doesn't feel like control. It feels like freedom. I watched her more closely after that. Not with anger, with precision. The late-night calls weren't about work. They were about alignment, positioning, expectations. Jake wasn't just involved. He was orchestrating, and she was performing. For him, for the job, for the illusion, but not for me. Not anymore. And that was fine. Because I wasn't watching her to save the marriage. I was watching her to understand the lie. So I could decide exactly how to end it. It happened 3 days after the party. Quiet, predictable, controlled. She came home late again. Hills in hand, phone in pocket, eyes avoiding mine. Long day, she said. I nodded. Of course. I placed the envelope on the table. Her paycheck. Still sealed. She glanced at it. Smiled. Proud. You should open it, I said. She did, carelessly at first. Then slower. Then not at all, because she saw it. The signature. At the bottom. My name. Clear. Undeniable. Her fingers tightened around the paper. What is this? I leaned back slightly. Watched her. This is your salary, I said calmly. No, she shook her head. No, that's not possible, Jake. Doesn't sign paychecks, I interrupted. Silence, heavy, unforgiving. I do. Her eyes searched my face, looking for a crack, a joke, a lie. There was none. You don't work for Jake, I continued. You work for me. Her breathing changed. Shallow, unstable. This doesn't make sense. It does, I said softly. You just weren't meant to understand it. Her voice dropped. Barely there. How long? Long enough. The room felt smaller, colder. She stepped back like distance could fix it. Like space could undo truth. You set this up? She whispered. I tilted my head slightly. No, I said. I just took ownership of what you thought you earned. She broke first. They always do. You manipulated me, she said, her voice shaking. This is sick. I almost smiled. Almost? No, I said calmly. I observed you. That's not the same. It is, I replied. You just don't like which side you're on. Her eyes filled, but not with guilt. With anger, because people like her don't regret betrayal. They regret being exposed. You humiliated me, she snapped. I let that sit between us. Then, quietly, you humiliated yourself, I said. Silence again. Deeper this time. You told me to get a life, I continued. So I did. I stood up. Slowly, deliberately. While you were busy trying to impress him, I was building something you couldn't even see. She shook her head. This isn't over. No, I agreed. It isn't. I picked up a folder from the table. Placed it in front of her. What's this? She asked. Your termination, I said. Her face went pale. You can't. I already did. She opened it. Hands trembling. Legal. Final. Absolute. You're firing me? She whispered. I'm removing an asset that failed its function. The words hit harder than I expected, even for her. Tears finally came, real this time. But it didn't matter, because I wasn't looking at her anymore. I was looking past her, at the version of her I thought I knew, and realizing she had been gone long before tonight. I left before she could say anything else. Before apologies, before excuses, before she could rewrite the story in a way that made her feel better. The air outside felt clean, like something had been removed, not healed, just removed. I walked without direction, without urgency. For the first time in a long time, there was no noise in my head. No questions, no doubt, just clarity. She didn't betray me in one moment. She did it slowly, piece by piece, choice by choice, until there was nothing left to save. And Jake, he lost something too. He just doesn't know it yet. Because people like him don't realize when they've been outplayed, until it costs them something they can't replace. But that's not my concern anymore. I didn't win. I didn't lose. I simply stepped out of a game I had already solved. And as I walked away, I realized something quiet, something final. She told me to get a life, so I took mine back and left her with the one she chose, built on lies and signed by me